We're building the most epic E36, and this one we're literally throwing money at. Now this build isn't going to cost us £1 million, but there was a time where they did cost that much.
In the 1990s, motorsport fans were treated to a spectacle unlike anything else on four wheels. It was the era of the super touring, a class so competitive, so technologically advanced, and so fiercely contested that it became the pinnacle of touring car racing. But building a super touring car wasn't cheap. With cutting-edge technology, exotic materials, and engineering perfection, these machines could cost up to £1 million each. For a touring car, BMW themselves had multiple F1 teams at the time investing in the programme. That's why the prices were driven up dramatically, some of these cars costing even more than the Formula 1 cars at the time, which for me is absolutely insane. You could be sat watching these machines on your sofa whilst looking outside and seeing the exact same car on your driveway. How crazy is that? It was super relatable, and I wish it was like that today.
Hello everybody and welcome back. Now, in the last episode, we left it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. You saw me with my head in my hands, and it was because I made a big mistake. So, whilst I was getting carried away with making this arch nice and bubbled, we did do a good job there, but I decided whilst it was upside down that I didn't need the lip anymore for this arch. So I basically just cut it off. What that means is there's now no lip for me to fold over to make this arch really rigid. So I'm in a bit of a predicament. I don't know whether I should weld this back on so that I can then reattach and then fold it to give it some rigidity, or contact somebody that knows what they're doing, which I might do. In the meantime though, we still have some work to do here on the arch. So what I'm going to do is sand all of this e-coating off so I can actually see all the low spots, and then I'm going to work on fettling those arches. We are going to filler the arch here, so it will take some of the imperfections out, but I don't want any big dents in there. All right, so we can see we've got a little bit of a low spot around here. And essentially what I've learned is if you get the hammer and dolly, what we need to do is we need to actually stretch that material. It can stretch and go inwards, but that's fine, so we can knock it out. But we need to make the material larger. It's currently kind of tight. So what we do is we get the dolly, we get it nice and tight behind there, then we just strike that area, something like that. And then we can knock it from the back. And there we go, we can start to see that area that was tight has now kind of opened up with a little bit more work. It will sort of follow the same way. I don't know if that's the right way of doing it. It's just what I've found is working for me right now. So that's it.
Nice.
Right, so I've done all the filler work now. I've done it off camera because it's boring, but you can see here that I've gone in and I've literally filled in all of the imperfections. I've done it to the point now where the body shop can jump in and they can actually put the final skim on it. But just look at that, absolutely happy with that, and I'm super excited now to get the wheel on the car. We've had this beast turn up today. Some of you will recognise it already. This has had loads of work done to it. It's Ricky from LLF's 1 Series, and it's in with us for a motorsport wiring loom strip. If you want to get yourself a motorsport wiring loom strip on any F or E or even G Series car, hit us up. We can get hit us up. We can get that sorted.
Yeah, boy.
This is Joel. Joel has been with the team since day one. He's been with us through thick and thin. You would have seen him on the M2 series, and at this time, he was only a year into a 3-year-long BMW apprenticeship. In fact, he is the only non-BMW apprentice to tackle the program ever. Well, the day has now come for Joel's final exams to take place, culminating 3 years of hard graft and relentless learning into 3 days of grueling tests. Being able to attend the BMW Academy has been a massive help to Joel's career, and I really hope that he enjoyed it. We were able to pull some strings to get him in there, and I hope it's gonna pay off. He's now back, and we're about to find out if he passed or perished.
Joel today? Yeah. Well, he'll be here soon, and literally we should be hearing whether he passed or not. I'm actually really tense because, to be honest with you, it's bloody hard to pass that, but I don't know, we'll see, I guess. Now this is a really proud moment for us at GAW because our Joel has now become fully qualified, and here is your BMW Technician's Certificate. He is the only one to not be from a BMW dealer, so well done Joel, we're immensely proud of you. That's going to go alongside my one, because I've also done it too. Right, let's get into fitting some parts. We've got the subframe here that we spoke about getting on the car, and that is what we're gonna do. These are not new bushings because annoyingly the person we ordered them from before Christmas, they're still not here. So, you know, we've got some used stuff, but it means that we will be able to get the subframe on because we wanna see that wheel fitment. We wanna see how good it's gonna look up in that new arch that we have made. So, let's get to it, get it fitted. Basically, it's just 2 halves. OEM, there'd be like 1 bush and you'd push it in, but the poly bushings are in 2 halves. They've got a metal core there, so we'll just go one side and the other, plonk it in, and then we can then get it and mount it onto the car. Now, obviously, we aren't going to be leaving these orange ones in. When the nice new green ones come, we will be fitting them, but we want to see how it all looks. And we are going to be taking all of the parts off the car again when it gets painted. So that's when we'll replace these. How heavy is this, you reckon? Let's have a lift. No. Joel! Harvey, can you help me quick, please? Subframe on. Now you can see exactly why we're using this MRT components here. You can see that this top arm has got a kick on it, and that's allowing us to get super low and close to the body. The hub can be all the way down here. If this was just straight, you know, we'd be limited by the gap we got to the body. So we're gonna now get the trailing arm assembly on and then mount a wheel up. Bottling it now, he's on camera. Come on, Harvey! All right, how good does that look? We can finally see some parts going on this car, and I love being able to do this. You can see all the geometry working. You can see how that bottom arm is giving us loads of extra room, and you can imagine if a wheel was this low, it would be tucked under the arch, and that's exactly what we want, and that is what we're going to show you next. Harvey, grab the wheels. I've set Harvey a bit of a task because the wheels are actually right up there, the leaning tower of wheels. Hope they don't fall off. You want me to do it?
I'll climb up the rack and hold them still if you want.
No drama. Harvey didn't bring his forklift license in today, so I had to do it. Now I know in episode 1 it was a little bit black and hard to see. Literally we got as much lighting as possible, but look at this, the wheel is on. Ooh. It looks so good. I'm literally so happy with it. My heart is beating fast, but That is not as low as it goes, because we're about to lift it up. Yes. Tell me that doesn't look like a touring car right now. That's an 8.5-inch wheel tucked right up into the arch. It's looking so good. I'm super excited. Literally, like, I've been waiting for this for a long time because so much work has gone on to get it to this point. But to see an original arch pushed out, hand done, filled, looking like this, it's a proud moment. I hope you like this episode. Oh, it's not the end, is it? Literally so good. Joel! Joel, come and have a look at this. Fucking hell.
Whoa, look at that.
Mate, how good does that look?
So good. That's going to handle so good.
Yeah?
I like
You're going to be going down craner curves.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Little bruise.
So we're currently running a 12.5mm spacer in there, and we're starting to see we've got an 8.5-inch wheel. We think that we probably could get a 9. The actual touring cars run 8.25. So, you know, we're gonna see, but I think an 8.5 is all right. Also, we're gonna do something sick with these wheels and how they're actually attached to the car. And by that, I mean, I probably won't have to undo 5 nuts. So you know what I mean, it's coming. Also, the actual wheel choice we're going for is super period correct. It's gonna look absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to show you all the wheel choice. Engine, which one should we use? To help us decide, we're gonna talk to someone quite special later on in this episode. But for now, I wanna know what you think. Put a comment down below of what engine you think we should use. Hello everybody, it's another morning and we're in the trusty E53. We're on our way to a very cold -3 but beautiful Birmingham. We're on our way to the Autosport show, and that is an annual meetup of all the motorsport industry. And it's like trade stands. If you've been to something like SEMA in the USA, it's a bit like that. And we're gonna go there. We've got some people to meet, we've got some people to see, and we've got someone to talk about what engine we should use in the STW. It's gonna be good, stay tuned. We've arrived at a chilly NEC Autosport show, but I'm super excited to get inside and see what they have in store. So I'm here with a legend of the BMW scene. This is Paul Travers, a master tech of how many years?
It'll be 30 years this year.
30 years of experience in the BMW world, and we're here to talk to him about a pressing issue with our E36, and that is what engine to use. But first, we're going to find out a little bit about Paul, and for me, why he was such a pivotal character in my career. Paul basically took me under his wing when I was about 16 years old, and I was like a sponge, absorbing everything I wanted to know about BMW, and Paul was the person who gave me all that information. He also introduced me to the world of motorsport, and that is where I find myself still thriving today. So Paul, why is an E36 so special to you?
Well, it's going to make me sound really old now, because the E36 has a soft spot in my heart because I started in 1994. It's been out a couple of years, 1992. So as an apprentice, like where you were with me, working with my mentor, the E36 was the new saloon.
Yeah.
And it was the family, it's everyone's car, wasn't it? And so that's where it all started from.
And what sort of did you ever own an E36?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, brilliant. So my first E36, and my only E36 actually, was a GT.
No way.
So very lucky, and going back a bit, rewinding a bit, before the E36, my first BMW was an E30 M3.
Wow.
So a Cicotto. So
I bet you wish you had that now.
yeah, I still see it at the car club shows. I
Wow.
do kind of wish I had it, but there was a reason why I sold it, because I was I was in my early 20s, I was probably 20. It was special, and it was very, back then, the E30 M3 wasn't as desirable car as it is
Yeah.
now. So I owned it because I wanted a BMW and I wanted an M-Power, and I thought the E30 M3 was the one to have,
Yeah.
but no one really wanted one back then. My passion was E36, so all I was thinking about, I was driving around an E30 M3, left-hand drive, I was thinking, I want an E36 M3. My friend had just bought an Evo, mega jealous, I thought that's the car for me. And then just by chance, we had an E36 3-litre GT traded in at work, and I thought, this is no-brainer.
Yeah.
So
Trading, a GT trading, that is
full
unheard
service
of.
history, absolutely minter, one owner, and really cheap, because even then no one wanted a British Racing Green E36.
Crazy.
So it's just how it all changes.
Can you remember how much you paid for it back then?
Yeah, £7.5 grand.
Can you believe that? £7,500.
Well, the E30 M3, I paid six
Oh
grand for
my
that.
Lord.
And, so I sold the E30 M3 to fund the E36 GT.
Wow.
No one wanted the GT because British Racing Green, everyone said it's an ugly colour. I liked it because it had that, well, I was going to say dull finish, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a metallic. Everyone wanted metallic
Yeah.
back then. And so I sold the E30 M3, got 12 grand for that. So I thought, wow, quid's in here. So I've got a 3-litre E36 GT and money in the bank. So I thought, I'm
Crazy.
happy days. Yeah, and then I did car shows. I loved that car. I had it probably 3 or 4 years.
What was it in particular about the E36 that really sort of like struck home with you?
I think of that time, the coupe, the E36 M3 it was just great. Naturally aspirated engine, it sounded great. I kept it totally stock, spent a lot of money on it, making sure that it was original. But going to the shows, when I went to the shows in E30 M3, people liked it, took a few photos. Remember, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it didn't get the respect. You turn up in E36 M3, and because it's still less than 10 years old at that time.
Yeah.
So it was still a desirable car. People still weren't like, back then the GTs weren't recognised as they are now, and the colour was still an issue.
Yeah.
But it just felt good going to shows in it. The drive, I mean, I could do 155 miles an hour in it and feel safe on the autobahns. But you know, it's but in the E30 M3, you know, you had to really drive that car. So it was a different beast. The 6-cylinder S50. You know, it was a different engine. The whole car was a completely different experience.
And we talk a lot on this channel about the STW, and at the time, of course, you would have had this car whilst it was still being raced in the Touring Car Series. And what was that like, seeing it on TV and then looking on the drive?
I used to take the E36 touring car racing, so I followed touring cars for many years. And when I was at that age and I was getting into motorsport in the early 90s, we had Steve Soper still racing, we had super touring cars. Silverstone, when all the Listerine E36s were with Soper and Harvey and all that. I was there, so I experienced that. So the E36 was the daddy. And even though the Listerine E36 was a 318, and I had a 318 IS race car, so again, that's where the E36 passion comes in.
Yeah.
My first race car I ever raced was an E36 318 IS, so
awesome.
Yeah, very passionate about that.
Now, I remember being at BMW whilst I was doing my apprenticeship, and the thing I looked forward to the most was lunchtimes, because lunchtimes we would roll in the race cars. And what were those race cars at the time, Paul?
Oh, we had a 318 IS, that was my car, a 328 Saloon.
Ooh,
and,
I remember that one.
Yeah,
that was my favourite.
Yeah, that was good. But that was the two that I think you'll remember from back then.
Yeah, and it was really pivotal for me because that's where I really got the passion for race cars, you know. Looking forward to that lunchtime, getting the grinders out. You wouldn't really do that normally when you were working on cars at BMW. You'd be using tools that you hadn't used before, welders. And
engineering.
Yeah, a bit of engineering. And then the best part is we'd take them to the track and actually use them, which was fantastic. You touched on the fact that you had 318 IS to start with. And then what did you move on to? So
we started with 318 IS, a great starter car, but I always dreamt that I need an M engine. An S50 would be my go-to. E36, I had the GT like I mentioned before, so I thought that would be the pinnacle. M engine, that's what it's all about. didn't kind of work out that way. We progressed to a 328. We found a 328 shell, M52 T, oh not TU, M52.
Just M52, yeah.
And we thought this is a good starting point. You can always put an S50 in later on, but it was so good. It was light, it was fast, wasn't
so
it?
underrated. So underrated how good that M52 engine is, and I'm sure many of the viewers will agree that M52 has become one of the legends of BMW scene, drifting
I'd
scene.
race one now, yeah. And I know you still got one, so it still gets out there, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
So we didn't put an S50 in it. We thought, you know, that's expensive. You know, they're not as cheap as they used to be. There's far and few between now. So we did the 328 for a while now, but I was lucky enough to get a seat in an E36 M3 with an S54.
I remember that day. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was like this was like
I got photos of you and you were
brilliant, Rockingham before it shut.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that was fantastic.
So that car was another level. I mean, having the S54 and an M3 was it was another level.
The daddy, it
so
really was.
S54 was a great engine, but cost and all that when you're racing, you know, S50s are getting harder to find. So you know, would I race engines again? Who knows? But we'll see.
Well, it's really funny you say that because we're here actually to ask of your expert opinion on our STW build. Now, we are torn whether we should go period correct with something like an S14 or do we go down the route of an S54? Now, the S14 we know is high revving, it's got that beautiful soundtrack, but to get it to the 300 horsepower level, we're going to be pushing it. Or do we go S54, reliability?
Yeah, so that's a difficult one because you want to keep it period, don't you? You want the right engine in the right shell for the right era and all that, but I think the S14, you know, great engine as it was, so expensive now. And I was talking to a guy this morning at the Autosport show where he's an engine builder from France, a French guy, and the money was phenomenal just for the blocks. I don't think you can get the blocks anymore, so it would be a no-brainer to go the S54. But then you're going to have all the haters and that, they're going, it's the wrong engine for the body. But for a race car, what an awesome combination.
Yeah,
S54
I
is
think
great,
so.
and I think.
And you and I have both stood on pit walls where you hear an S54 screaming towards you, trust me, it's going to be worth it. So there you go. I've decided we're going to be going S54. All right, Paul, thank you so much for spending some time with us. If you do need any advice in the future, this is your guy because he's the oracle of BMW. So thank you so much. And you'll see more of Paul as this channel grows. So make sure you like and subscribe because we want to get this guy, you know, we want to throw the hook out there and pull him into our whole enterprise.
Home time?
Yes, I'm ready for it. I need that heated seat on, it's absolutely freezing. So, let's go.
Cool.
And we're in the trusty E53.
Car don't work, mate.
Got any jump leads? Now, luckily, I have found something that might get us out of this pickle, and that's one of these. We're not sponsored by these, but trust me, if you're into cars and you don't want to repair your battery, you want to get one. Quite embarrassing, really. Must have left something plugged in, I don't know. All right, so that's all in. Literally, big battery, big car.
Doesn't work, Joe.
It might not be on yet. Might not be on yet. All right, it's on now. It's on now. Definitely on now. You're driving.
Easy.
What a lifesaver, honestly, that would have been an absolute mare. Can you imagine, we literally would have been stuck in the middle of a bloody car park if it wasn't for this. That's Autosport 2025 done. Big thanks to Trav and obviously Ro. Guys, make sure you get your oils use that discount code, you might as well stock up for the season ahead or even just for your daily car. In the next episode, we are going to be talking about engines, fitting engines, and also gearboxes. And we are going to take a trip to Finland, where our gearbox is being made right now. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We really want to push this series and push this channel to the max. So please tell your friends, it will massively help us. And catch you on the next one.
Jay's actually managed to let the car die again. Yeah, I don't know, some McDonald's. Nice work, mate. She lives.